The silence didn't feel normal. For months, fans around the world had been waiting, watching, analyzing every tiny detail. There were no official announcements, no confirmed timelines, no dramatic teasers. And yet, something felt different. Something was shifting. And at the center of that growing conversation was one name: Jungkook. But this wasn't just another trending topic. It wasn't a simple fan debate or a passing theory that would fade within days. This felt deeper, more intense, almost inevitable. Because quietly, almost invisibly, a question had begun to take over the global fandom. Is Jungkook becoming the center of BTS's new era? When BTS stepped away from military service, the world paused with them. It wasn't just about a group going on hiatus. It was about the temporary disappearance of a cultural force that had redefined global music. BTS was no longer just a K-pop group. They were a phenomenon that had broken language barriers, reshaped fandom culture, and redefined what global success looked like. So when the conversation about their return began to grow louder, expectations weren't just high, they were unrealistically high. Fans weren't just waiting for music, they were waiting for a new era, a moment that would define what BTS would become after everything they had achieved. And naturally, attention began to turn toward the members. Who would lead this new chapter? Who would shape the sound, the image, the identity of BTS 2.0? And slowly, almost naturally, attention kept circling back to Jungkook. Before the group's full return, Jungkook had already been building something powerful. His solo work didn't just succeed, it dominated. From global chart performances to streaming milestones, Jungkook proved something that few artists ever managed to achieve. He could stand alone at the top of the global music industry. But more importantly, his solo era revealed something deeper. It showed his range. Pop, R&B, emotional ballads, performance-driven tracks, Jungkook moved between styles effortlessly. His music wasn't limited by language or genre. It was designed for a global audience, and it worked. And fans noticed. Because for the first time, they weren't just seeing Jungkook as a member of BTS, they were seeing him as a global pop artist. And that realization changed everything. The word center in K-pop has always been sensitive. It's not just about who stands in the middle of a formation. It's about visibility, impact, representation. It's about who naturally draws the most attention when the group is performing. And for years, BTS had avoided that conversation. They weren't a group built around a single center. Their strength came from balance, from chemistry, from the way each member contributed something unique. But now, things felt different. Because as fans began analyzing performances, global reach, and individual popularity, one pattern kept appearing. Jungkook was always there, front and center, dominating streams, leading global conversations, trending across platforms, connecting with both longtime fans and new audiences. It wasn't something forced, it was something that happened naturally, and that's exactly why the discussion started to grow. There's something about Jungkook's appeal that feels universal. He isn't just popular in traditional K-pop markets. His music reaches audiences far beyond that. Western listeners, casual fans, even people who don't actively follow K-pop, they know his name. And in today's music industry, that matters. Because BTS's next era isn't just about maintaining success, it's about expanding it, reaching new audiences, breaking new records, entering new markets. And if there's one member who seems perfectly positioned to do that, it's Jungkook. His image, his sound, his style, they all align with global trends while still maintaining the identity of BTS. Which leads to an important question. Is this just coincidence, or is it part of a bigger plan? Even in silence, Jungkook commands attention. This is something fans have noticed more than ever. He doesn't need constant updates, he doesn't need to be active every day, and yet whenever he appears, even briefly, the reaction is immediate. Trending topics, millions of views, global conversations. It's a kind of presence that can't be manufactured. It's something that comes from years of connection with fans, from authenticity, from consistency. And in a group setting, that kind of presence naturally pulls focus. Not intentionally, but inevitably. As 2026 approached, the theories started to evolve. Fans weren't just discussing popularity anymore, they were analyzing patterns. Who had the strongest global metrics? Who had the widest appeal across different markets? Who had the versatility to lead multiple concepts? Again and again, the same answer appeared: Jungkook. Some fans began to believe that his solo era wasn't just a personal project, it was preparation, a way to position him for a larger role in BTS's future. Others disagreed, arguing that BTS has always been about unity, not hierarchy. And that's where the tension began, because both sides had valid points, and neither side had confirmation.
The biggest question isn't just about Jungkook, it's about BTS itself. What does BTS look like after everything they've been through? After military service, after global domination, after redefining the industry? Do they return the same, or do they evolve? Because evolution means change, and change means new roles, new dynamics, new focus. And in that kind of transition, it's natural for certain members to take on more visible positions, not as replacements, but as leaders of a new direction. For fans, this isn't just a strategic discussion, it's emotional, because BTS isn't just a group, they're a family, a story that fans have followed for years, a journey built on trust, connection, and shared experiences. The idea of a center can feel uncomfortable. It can feel like imbalance, like something is changing too much. And yet, at the same time, fans want growth. They want evolution. They want BTS to reach even higher. And that creates a contradiction, because growth often requires change. Perhaps the most intriguing part of this entire conversation is the silence. There has been no official confirmation, no statements, no announcements about roles or positions, and yet the discussion continues to grow, because sometimes silence says more than words. It creates space for interpretation, for theories, for anticipation, and in that space, the idea of Jungkook as the center of a new era continues to take shape. So where does that leave us? Is Jungkook truly becoming the center of BTS's next chapter, or is this simply a reflection of his current momentum? The truth is, we don't know, not yet. But what we do know is this: the conversation isn't going away, because something is happening, something subtle, something quiet, something that fans can feel, even if they can't fully explain it. And as the world waits for BTS's return, one question continues to echo louder than ever. When the new era begins, who will stand at the center? Silence in the world of K-pop is never just silence, especially not when it comes from someone like Jungkook. By early February 2026, what began as a normal, expected quiet period during military service had transformed into something much bigger, something heavier. Fans were no longer just waiting, they were watching. Every gap between updates, every delayed post, every moment that felt different. And in that silence, a story began to form. Not because Jungkook said anything, but because he didn't. Before enlistment, Jungkook stood at the peak of global success. His solo career had exploded. His music was charting worldwide. His identity as an artist had evolved beyond expectations. But success comes with a cost, and for someone known for emotional honesty, that cost is often internal. Fans started asking difficult questions. Was he overwhelmed before enlistment? Was the pressure too much? Did he leave at a time when he needed rest? In K-pop, idols rarely show exhaustion, but sometimes silence speaks louder than words. It only takes one moment to shift perception. For many fans, that moment was a Weverse live broadcast. During the live stream, Jungkook appeared quieter than usual, more reserved, less playful. There were pauses, longer than normal. His voice felt softer, his energy restrained. Nothing dramatic happened, and yet everything felt different. Clips from the live quickly spread across platforms like Reddit and X, formerly Twitter, where fans began sharing their observations. He doesn't look like himself. He seems tired, emotionally, not physically. I just want him to rest. These weren't accusations, they were concerns. In the absence of official explanations, fans did what they always do. They filled the gaps. Some believed Jungkook was simply adjusting to military life. Others suggested the emotional toll of fame had finally caught up with him, and some feared something deeper. But here's the truth. There was no confirmed issue, no statement, no verified concern, only interpretations. And in the world of social media, interpretation spreads faster than fact. There's a thin line between concern and assumption. Most fans were careful. They emphasized support. They avoided conclusions. They reminded each other, we don't know what he's going through. But not everyone stayed within that line. Some posts began analyzing his expressions frame by frame. Others speculated about mental health without evidence. And that's where the conversation became complicated. Because while concern comes from love, speculation can become pressure.